literally fired a coach over the weekend. And the reporting is from Ross Dellinger and the Specker from ESPN that the Thamel guy, that the reporting is that the governor and his minions were going booth to booth trying to raise the money for the buyout. And then they fired the guy at the governor's mansion. I mean, what are we doing here? Matt, does this thing mean way too much? Or is that kind of the charm of it? Or does it officially mean way too much?
Well, it obviously means way too much, but I'm, part of that. That's why the charm is there, though. So it obviously matters a little bit too much to people like me, especially, and a bunch of our listeners. But that's the beauty of it. People get invested and overly invested, and that's where the passion comes from. And that's why the SEC is at the top of every sport it plays.
The reporting is
I love it. Yeah. I'm for it. I love it when it gets political with stuff like this. We saw a little bit of it on Shiano Sunday when politicians get involved. That's when you've really made it, when the governor has to kind of step in on something.
Well, and so the governor tweeted out of Louisiana the night of the game, just a totally inflammatory tweet about how you're not going to charge. You bring this guy back next year, you're not charging these ticket prices. And then they turn around the next day and fire him from the governor's mansion. I mean, that's the reporting on this thing. That is the most next level thing maybe in the history of rock and roll, part 1 and part 2. Move over Elvis Presley. Move over Sam Phillips. Move over my blue suede shoes. Move over Mama Thornton. Move over Mama Cass Elliott. What are we doing? And here's the thing. It just means way too much. I was talking with a friend of mine that's pretty familiar with the Kentucky situation. That Mark Stoops makes $9 million a year. That's $9 million last year for every SEC win. And John Adams, you presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. How much money is that per win this time around? If it's $9 million last year, and he doesn't win an SEC game this year, and he's making $9 million, you go ahead and bust that math for me, John.
It's a lot of millions for a win. It's a lot of money for a win.
And that's really $4 million for a MAC win.
That was a bad Kentucky.
They have no chance. You're paying that guy not. You know why? Because Jimmy Sexton plays these people like Stradivarius violins, R.I.P. ZR. And he went to Kentucky and said, hey, LSU's showing interest. Hey, sweetie, can you give me a 2-camera shot with John? I know
A&M was going to hire him. Remember?
What?
A&M had him hired, and they kind of vetoed.
What?
Yeah, I mean, come on, Tony, you remember this?
Yeah, they Shiano Sunday'd him.
They kind of, it was a little Shiano Sunday, and their board of regents stepped in there. They were going to hire him.
John, they owe him their buyout. I was talking to somebody today that knows. Within 30 days, they owe the full buyout. How in the hell, when you're at the University of Kentucky, could you ever get yourself behind the 8 ball like that? How do you do that? What are these people doing? And then LSU, man. I mean, you're familiar with that. You grew up down there. The governor's involved?
Oh, yeah. Well, that goes.
The governor?
Always.
What?
That's a very political state. I mean, you could say any state's political, but it runs deep there. Huey Long, years ago, when he was the governor, he was assassinated. Huey Long might have been president. He was a great speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He was, he would lead he's led the LSU band on the field. I think he paid for students to go on a train to some game one time. I forgot which game it was, maybe a bowl game. But but they've always been, it's always been that way. And LSU doesn't have it has an interim president right now.
That's right.
So there's no,
he's like a soft target. That's a soft target for somebody to come in there and run the show from their deal. They get to be governor and athletic director, because the reporting, Pete Thamel reported today, which is going to surprise you, on their podcast, that he went from booth to booth Saturday night while that debacle was unfolding. Can I put you down for $1 million? Can I put you down? And they were literally scratching it on a scratch pad. Can I put you down for $2 million? Can I put you down? John, here's an idea. Why don't we quit paying these people this failure money? Why doesn't somebody look at Jimmy Sexton and go, hey, Jimmy, look, we're in the era of NIL now, okay? This money has to filter to these players. I don't care how much money we're bringing in. This is not sustainable. And if you want we'll go do business with the University of Delaware's coach. Your guy will just sit there. I mean, at some point.
Well, you could look at it like, let's hire a coach and pay him a couple of million a year and invest the rest of that money in our roster.
Like Danny has done with Kim Caldwell. We won't pay top dollar for a coach, but I'll salt her roster with so many players that she's going to succeed. What's wrong with that?
No, you've got to quit giving long-term contracts.
That's exactly right, Matt.
That's the key here. Like pro sports, you don't have 10-year contracts.
And pro sports,
and there's no reason to do that anymore, because it's so much of a player, it's a player era where you're only as good as your roster, and you're buying your roster. So you have to put, you don't need to load up contracts and give coaches, 8 and 10-year deals anymore. They need to be, 3 to 5 year deals where you can still pay them, way too much money, but that's just on a yearly deal. And if you have to get rid of them, it's not some egregious buyout. I mean, I don't know how you would negotiate those things down with the Jimmy Sextons, because they obviously won't want to budge on that, but that's what you have to do.
You can't.
I mean, paying $50 million to buy coaches out is just ridiculous, regardless of the circumstance.
Totally idiotic, Matt.
And you can't maintain this.
No.
At some point, the people that are footing the bill are going to say, whoa.
I don't care if I have billions. I would go to that whole shebang of college sports and say, you people need to figure this out. Okay? Like, for instance, how would you like to be the booster that was in on Boo Carter $700,000 this year? When you watch him, I'm not being serious. This is what we're talking about. This guy is borderline not trying the other night. I mean, no offense to him. And if he was trying, God bless him, as we say in the modern vernacular, right before we rip you outside of church. But hey, listen, at what point do those guys go, hey, man, I was all in on the Nico experiment? Because it's got to be happening everywhere that they're burning these people out. But Matt's right. You walk the next buffoon up there. Like, I was giving Danny White a lot of love in the blog today, because here's what Tennessee did. Hopefully, they kept the Tony Vols train on the track by keeping the whole apparatus there, including the guy that was the great recruiter in Elander. Somebody told me a great Josh Elander story last night. It's one of the greatest things I've ever heard. And maybe in the third hour today, I'll share it. I'm not going to share it on the radio, but it's one of the greatest as to how much of a recruiting psycho this guy is. And he is a recruiting psycho. This is a guy, when it comes to recruiting, that is a psycho, a total nut job. And you have to be that if you're going to win in these sports. You have to. Nick Saban, above all else, was a recruiting maniac. It was a 24/7 pursuit for him. But here's the thing, right? So you think about Brian Kelly. Okay, we hire him from Notre Dame. Man, John, either Brian Kelly wants to compete for a national championship or he doesn't. He wasn't going to do that at Notre Dame. He knew that. Now, the guy that they hired, who they got from Cincinnati, who Brian Kelly didn't get along with, turns out he's a better coach than Brian Kelly somehow. I don't know how that happened, but this guy's a really good coach. Why doesn't LSU say to him, look, Brian, we're giving you a chance, and you're 60-something years old, whatever you are. We're giving you a chance to coach in the SEC. You're not going to get some huge parachute on the way out if you believe in yourself. Do you believe in yourself? Why don't these ADs look at the agent and look at these guys and say, do you? Why would I sign you up knowing that I'm going to commit $90 million in failure money to you, John? Would they do that in newspapers? When you guys were blowing and going back in the day and you were negotiating, you had people coming after you in different spots. Would you ever say, hey, I want a 4-year guaranteed, you're paying me. If I suck, what are we doing?
We're in sports has always been kind of a fantasy world, and it's almost like it's fantasy money now. How I don't understand how somebody that's paying for this, the boosters who are paying for this, most of them are successful businessmen.
Yeah.
If I had that kind of money, it would anger me. It would embarrass me.
Yeah.
If I put up money to pay for somebody who failed.
And Matt, here's why we're having this conversation. Huguenin said it the other day, and it's been ringing around in my head since he said it. He said there are 12 teams in this league that expect to make the playoffs every year. I think there are 10. And I think there are 10 fan bases that at the end of every year, if their team's not in the playoffs, want their coach fired. And I think there are 10 booster bases that have sped up the clock. And here's how all politics are local. I'm going to tell you how this is going to play out. Tennessee is either going to win them all down the stretch, and they're going to be happy with Heupel, or they're going to lose a game or maybe two with that defense they have. And he's either going to fire Tim Banks or he's not. And if he doesn't, as sure as I'm sitting here today, he is going to go right on the clock. And I am not kidding. That is what we're doing now. It's crazy. It's stupid. It means too much. Argue with me, Matt. Argue with me, John. That's exactly what's going to happen. These people, you can already see it. They're going to go to him because the backstory, as I wrote today in the blog, is that Danny White told him last year, we don't need to give this guy a 3-year contract. And Heupel said, no. He deserves it. And Danny White said he had one good year. And guess what? Guess who was right in that deal? Danny White was right in that deal.
LSU told Brian Kelly, you got to fire this coach and the offensive coordinator and this other coach too. And I don't think did he say no?
Maybe he did. I don't know.
It seems like they came to him and told him,
no, he was going to fire those coaches anyway. And then it just, whatever their meeting blew up for other reasons, I guess.
Yeah, I can't imagine Brian Kelly wouldn't fire somebody if it meant
keeping his gig,
keeping his job. Yeah,
I think Heupel's from a different stripe because I think of what was done to him. Because basically, what was done to him is they went to Bob Stoops, who was an accomplished national championship coach, certainly more accomplished than Heupel. Now, Heupel's a nice coach. Our fan base is getting ready, if we lose Saturday night, to freak out on this guy. It's the truth. And he made the playoffs last year. And 2 years ago, he was in a position to make the playoffs. But people don't care. They care about the here and the now. And I don't know how fair it is or unfair because the guy makes $10 million a year. Again.
Well, that's a big part of this,
Sure
Tony.
it is. Sure it is.
If you're going to make that kind of money,
right,
you better believe you're in a high-risk business. It's just like somebody that's working out
silly
in the oil business in a dangerous job and that well might blow.
Yeah.
You get paid a lot more per hour And if you're just working construction, it's a high-paying job because it's high risk.
Yeah.
It's high risk in college football because you're getting paid. I mean, you brought it up, Mark Stoops.
Yeah.
Why should you be able to make that kind of money coaching Kentucky football? That's not a program that expects to make the playoffs.
See, Matt, that is true, right? Like, what was Kentucky thinking? That was pure vanity on their part, just making that Barney Rubble-looking dude a wealthy guy. I mean, what? He was already wealthy. He's making $4 or $5 million there coaching. I mean, what do they think they were accomplishing? And Matt, I'm right. If we lose a couple games here down the stretch and he brings Tim Banks back next year, our fans are going to be all over this guy, Matt. And it is the damn truth. And I don't know, is it fair? I guess we could have that conversation because that's exactly, when you look around the league, that's exactly what's going to happen. It is such a what have you done for me lately now deal in the whole sport. James Franklin was going to live in the 12-team playoff. Okay, they had a down year this year. They were going to live in the 16-team playoff. Penn State couldn't fire him quickly enough. He won like 80% of his games there. He won, and he is a great comparison to Heupel from the standpoint of those guys are both really high floor, really good college football coaches, but eventually fan bases, it's not enough for you to be really good. It's a bizarre world we live in, guys. It's bizarre.
Well, we talk about, I think when you expanded the playoff to 12 teams, then you're expected to make the playoffs. And I think that was the dividing line between success and a failure for a coach. You made the playoffs, you didn't. But it's not enough now just to make the playoff in certain schools. You're expected to win a championship.
What about here, though? Here, you make the playoffs, you've had a good year. What happened to that?
Ohio State. I thought last year it was a big deal for Tennessee to make the playoff.
Big deal.
It was a big deal.
Big deal.
But that playoff game was a disaster.
Well, it's like Orange Blood says. Franklin dipped one season, and he's gone. And he didn't even get to coach the year. They fired him like away from me, Satan. That's how they treated him. They went like this. Linda Blair, away from me, Satan. They exercised him right out of that program.
And he won 2 playoff games.
And he got to the semifinals last year, didn't he?
I mean, yeah, he won 2 playoff games. Now they had an easy draw, but still.
I mean.
Yeah, he was right there. He was right where he's supposed to be, but he didn't make it all the way. But even if you win a national championship, that's not a guarantee. Look at Ed Orgeron.
How about Ryan Day going in the last year's playoff? There were Ohio State
They were
fans,
ready to fire him.
They were reaching out to us saying, hey, do us a favor, knock him out. Matt, you were around those people. Am I lying, Matt, that fan base up there at Ohio State last year was wanting that guy gone after that Michigan game? Coming in
yes, they were. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, somebody tell me what we're doing in this sport, because I don't understand it. Look, Brian Kelly deserved to go because he never should have gotten hired. When I said when he was hired on this show that he's never going to make it there, he does not have the temperament to be around those people. He was way too thin-skinned. It was never going to work. They never liked him. He's a fake, a fraud, a phony, a hypocrite, a liar, and a thief. Other than that, he's a pretty good guy. So then you think about some of the other things that are going on. I'm telling you right now, I've been around here. This Tim Banks thing is, if they lose a game because they're playing electric football in the back four and at his position that he's supposed to be coaching, that I don't know that he is, but that's another story for another day. But the howls on Heupel to get this guy off that campus after they gave him a 3-year contract last year, just buy him out and get him out of here, are going to be so loud. Here's the other thing that's going on with that backdrop. He hasn't talked to the media in weeks. They're sending 2 people out today or whatever to talk to the media, and people are going to start getting antsy on this Banks guy, whether it's fair or not. And Johnny makes like $2 million a year as a coordinator, but here's the problem. Everybody in this league is paying their coaches and paying their players like that. And 10 teams are expecting to win and win now. And literally there are 4, maybe 5 playoff spots available. That means half the teams in the league that try to compete, try to play at the high level are going to be really urinated off at the end of the year because this is not cheap anymore.
Well, look at Oklahoma's situation.
And that's who we're going to talk to on the other side. Yep.
Oklahoma is it's still in the running for the playoff. Had one of the toughest schedules in the country.
Yep.
Unbelievably tough schedule. It's still in the playoff hunt. Excuse me. You go into the last one of the season, you're still in the playoff hunt.
Yep.
I don't think it'll make it. I never thought it could make it with that schedule.
No.
But it's in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
Only 2 losses. You can even make a case for Oklahoma stuff as schedule is with 3 losses. It should be ahead of some 2-loss teams.
Maybe us. Truth be told.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tennessee hadn't beaten
Not
a
if
team.
they lose head-to-head, Tone. Come on.
No, not if they lose
No, not Saturday.
No,
right.
No. But if you do that, so you're still in the playoff hunt. However,
right.
Oklahoma could still lose 3 more games and end up with 5 losses.
Plugs pulled on him.
And they're going to fire Brent Venables.
Yeah. And that's, if I'm Josh Heupel, I do 2 things Saturday after I beat him because he's done when you beat him. I walk out to midfield and I say, hey, are you interested in doing this next year? We once coached together, which somebody taught me this week, which is good. They crossed over. And then I walk over to the 2 or 3 of their linebackers and I say, hey, how would you like to come here with your coach next year? We'll put a deal. That's what Tony Vitello used to do. Tony would invite some of those teams in. Matt knows this. They're down there at South Georgia. Where was the school, Matt? The Georgia Southern, where Dolander was?
Yeah, Georgia Southern.
Georgia
first weekend
Southern,
of the season.
Walks right over to him. Hey, man, what you doing? You're pretty good. We turn you into a star, man. We turn you into a star. Come back on the other side. Mason Youngjoyds, he's of the Tulsa World. We do that right after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land? Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contracting. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting. Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gouffon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gouffon Moving and Storage has been helping East Tennesseans move since 1887. That's 138 years. 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage are pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time for your next move, it's Gufon Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics, we offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufon.com. That's Gufon.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufon Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Fall has officially arrived, so now is the perfect time to make sure your home's heating and HVAC system is ready for the season ahead. Don't ignore the warning signs that your heating or cooling system is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need fast, reliable HVAC repairs, seasonal preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new high-efficiency system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Whatever HVAC problems you encounter, our certified technicians will make a full assessment and then provide the best long-term solution to keep your home comfortable again all year long. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
TB here with Alan of WeShipFloors.com. Tell them about it, Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan from WeShipFloors.com. Our competition's prices, well, they're going up. Ours are coming down. Our waterproof floor Supercore is the best, and right now it starts at $199 a square foot. Our warehouses are full of 4mm, 6mm, and 8mm. You strapped for cash? Well, we have our own in-house financing. Use our room visualizer and order some free samples today. Supercore from WeShipFloors.com. Best products at best price.
Like Alan said, head over to WeShipFloors.com. Use the room visualizer on the website. Drop in any of the 120 Supercore floors virtually into your room and order your free samples today. WeShipFloors.com. Tennesseans, they are us. the best product, the best price. WeShipFloors.com. On the TLD Logistics Hotline, we welcome in now on your Tony Basilio show, Mason Young of your Tulsa World, who's got a few minutes for us. He's got to get to a Oklahoma press conference. John Adams, Knoxville News Sentinel, why don't you share with Mason what you told me about lurking on a board last night, which will tie into our conversation about just the nuttiness of expectation right now.
Yeah, I was actually looking for some information. I just stumbled upon this sort of a fan board or reaction to a story. I was kind of surprised because I can understand why all SEC fans get upset when they lose. But John Mateer, quarterback, who I couldn't believe how fast he came back from an injury, and the fans were just ripping John Mateer and ripping Brent Venables for even bringing him in, because I thought this guy, saw him early in the year. I watched him at Washington State. I thought he had a good chance to certainly be in New York and maybe win the Heisman Trophy. These fans didn't think so. Could you talk a little bit about that, Mason, and also about why did they feel so compelled? I know he wanted to play, but why did they bring him back so quickly?
I mean, the particular message board stuff that you're probably talking about is a little bit of an emotional overreaction by the vast minority, shall we say. I think, by and large, like, OU fans wouldn't go as far to say, oh, why was John Mateer the quarterback that we got? He stinks. I don't think that's it, because everybody saw the body of work earlier in the season before the injury and the way he played against Michigan and Auburn. And through those first 4 games, yeah, he was looking like a Heisman contender. And then the injury happened. So I think what you're seeing is like a overreaction by the very few. But I think there is no doubt about it that, for what OU is paying Mateer, like, there's an expectation that he would be better. And I think it comes down to he's just pressing right now. He's chucking it deep instead of looking for the check downs that are there and making the right reads and stuff. And it's kind of been strange to see, because we saw that coming out against Texas, his first game back after the surgery on his thumb. And then 2 weeks ago against South Carolina, he was a little bit more conservative. And then now, last Saturday against Ole Miss, it was right back to kind of the same thing against Texas, that gunslinger, put it all on your own shoulders identity. And so I think he's definitely got to get away from that. I think the reason that they got him back as fast as they possibly could is, unfortunately, they don't, I think, really trust their backup situation. Their backup is Michael Hawkins, who played a little bit for them last year as a freshman, and he played the game that Mateer missed in the middle of the year against Kent State this year and just wasn't super sharp. He's still young. He's still really developing. Was kind of a project when they got him. And so I think they felt like bringing Mateer back, he would give them the best chance to win, given the circumstances. And that still might be true. He just hasn't played up to what he's capable of and hasn't quite looked the same in the 3 weeks since he came back.
Hey, Mason, and obviously we're playing hindsight here, but through your eyes, did they rush him back too soon? Because it seems like, just thinking about it, right? You're in the playoff chase. The committee is going to give you grace if you lose a game, even or 2, without your starting quarterback, and then you bring him back for the Tennessee game. You let him heal. I found myself watching him over the weekend and almost kind of feeling sorry for that kid.
Yeah, I think that's fair to wonder in hindsight. Did they do it too early, bring him back too early, when, like you said, if you play the backup against Texas and you lose, you probably get a mulligan. There was actually, coming out of that Texas game, one of the other kind of dark thoughts he had was, well, what if Michael Hawkins Jr. had come in and played better than Mateer against Texas and they had won? But I think at the end of the day, the coaching staff just made the decision that, hey, we feel like John Mateer gives us the best chance to win and we're going to try to go win this Texas game because it's the rivalry and whatnot. And I will say it's been maintained over and over again when we talk to John Mateer, when we talk to Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator. The thumb is fine. Like, everybody heals differently, and Mateer just continues to maintain the thumb's not the issue. I think potentially the bigger issue is the practice time he missed while he was sidelined has diminished his confidence in terms of what he's seeing on the field, the reads and the stuff in front of him. So I think that's probably the bigger detriment. I don't think the thumb so much is the issue. It's his eyes that are a problem right now.
Yeah, like the other day on that fourth down, man, when he threw that ball downfield, you got a guy wide open in the flat. But that's Mateer. You knew what you were getting in him when Oklahoma took him. But in this league, you just cannot play like that. You will not win these close games when you play like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we're seeing so much, one possession games, and they had the chance to win that game, I think, is the thing that probably hurts the most. I mean, they second to last drive of the game, they get the ball back and he sails wide open guys on third and fourth down. And then the second to last play of the game, they end up getting the ball back for a final time with like a minute and 5 seconds left. Second last play of the game, he tries to force one in the middle of the field, and it's behind the guy and incomplete. And there's 2 or 3 defenders in the area. He's not hitting the right guys. It's this kind of hero ball situation. And I think it's, at least he maybe didn't put the ball in harm's way as much against Ole Miss as he did against Texas, but it's still just the decision-making is off right now.
They must have no confidence in Michael Hawkins, Mason.
Yeah, it's a interesting situation. Now you're looking at a situation where Mateer more likely than not comes back next year, and that consequently means that you lose Michael Hawkins, because at this point he's a junior or a redshirt sophomore maybe, and he wants to go play somewhere. Sure. So, and you run that risk of him developing into a star elsewhere if you let him walk. But at the same time, perhaps this year kind of serves as a learning curve year for Mateer, and then he is next year, if he comes back, what everybody hoped he would be, this Heisman contender, potential top draft pick, after having a first year, some highs and lows at adjusting in the jump from the Pac-2 Mountain West kind of competition to the SEC.
Definitely a huge jump. Oklahoma's defense, I was telling you off the air, those guys got to be sitting there going, we play like an undefeated football team. Those guys have to feel so let down. I mean, I think this game is the first of 31 wins. I think that Tennessee's offense is going to have trouble with Oklahoma's defense. If you can, elaborate on what makes Oklahoma's defense just so formidable in this league.
Yeah, it's the defensive line. I mean, they've built up an incredible depth of talent there. They have really a true 4 and sometimes even 5-man rotation, both at tackle and on the edge. And they just rack up tons of tackles for loss and consistently put the other team behind the chains. They haven't gotten as many sacks at times as they potentially would like to. I think that was a big factor in the Ole Miss game, was they only had 1 sack, and Trinidad Chambliss had some great escapes. Got out of the pocket and made some plays on third and fourth down for Ole Miss, and that was a problem. But yeah, it's definitely their ability to just wreck drives early on and get the offense behind the chains, and then they can cover pretty well for the most part. Their safeties aren't playing great right now. They're kind of struggling in the middle of the field, but they've been pretty solid on the corners, kind of despite their youth there. But it's just the one thing they struggle with is just sometimes not being able to get off the field on third downs and letting teams extend drives. And that's, part of what got them, against Ole Miss, in conjunction with the offense not really complimenting them in any sort of way. Those are kind of unfortunately the underlying recurring problems of the Brent Venables era right now.
Elaborate for me on the safety play. Go unpack that for me. What's that look like? Why are they struggling?
Yeah, it's interesting. They're just I don't know if it's the calls, because they have two veteran guys that you have played a lot of ball that you would think know what they're doing, and they got good depth behind them, but they're just flat out getting beat by some of these SEC skill groups. I mean, they're just not covering really as well as they need to be, and they're also sometimes guys are just making some incredible contested catches on them. It's kind of peculiar, but that's I would think definitely the weak point to target if you're Tennessee. That passing game with Aguilar, he knows how to bomb it. So I mean, that group's going to be tested by Tennessee, I'm sure.
TGMD, jump in here. The great Matt Dixon, who files the gamer for us on Friday over at tclub.team. As you've interfaced with Mason Young, Tulsa World. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, it's interesting because Oklahoma's defense is top 10 in just about every category. The one area they struggle in is forcing turnovers, which is ironic because that's the only thing, literally the only thing that Tennessee's defense does well. How is Oklahoma not forced more than just 4 turnovers this year with how aggressive they play? I mean, they usually get 20 or 25 a year. It's really strange that they're still this elite, but they're not forcing turnovers.
Yeah, it could just be all the tackles for loss and sacks are just kind of making up for that. That's kind of how I see it. Now that's not what you want to be. You want to have that balance of being able to get more turnovers, and it really doesn't make sense. It's something that I think they're even struggling to explain, just because they've had past seasons where like in 2023 they just racked them up. It could also be just like the schedule. Like they've played teams that take good care of the ball, especially in the SEC, although Texas isn't necessarily exactly the best example of that. But it's absolutely baffling, and I think they're searching for answers because they need that to bail them out sometimes when they are experiencing some of these long drives or they don't get off the field.
It's a very, very interesting year. Go ahead, Bri, jump in.
How hot is Brent Venables' seat? Will it be scalding hot if they don't get it done Saturday? Or does he need to win to sort of stay a little bit cool?
Yeah, I mean, it's every week difference at this point. Things kind of, he beat Michigan and Auburn. Things were pretty cool. Everybody's thinking, okay, he's good. Then the Texas disaster happens, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this guy can't beat Texas. Like, what's the deal here? And it started to kind of ratchet up a little bit. You went and won the game at South Carolina. You had to have that. Things are good. But then now, after Ole Miss, in a game that you could have and probably should have won in some senses, it's all the way back up. So, a loss of Tennessee would only feed the flame. And obviously he cannot afford to lose out. Like 8-4 needs to be the floor for this team. 7-5 is where it starts to get really dicey, and anything worse than that, he's gone.
And the crazy thing is
that he's still around.
Well, the crazy thing is, Mason, the last thing they want to do is open that job up right now, because you have LSU open, you have Florida open, you have Penn State open, you have all these other signature jobs, and Oklahoma looks at themselves, as they should, like they're a top 6, 7, 8 program in college football. But you're not going to get your coach. I mean, it's just the reality of this thing now is it's crazy hard as to find a coach. Go ahead, John. You want to add?
Yeah, Mason, how good is Oklahoma's NIL business? Or they? I think of Oklahoma as a program that would have plenty of money.
They have oil fields.
Yeah, they have oil fields. How is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they have plenty of money. I think the problem has been, how they choose to spend it. I think they're very conservative with it. They're not going to go crazy like an Ole Miss or a Texas Tech and just buy everybody. They're going to try to target the right guys, but in some senses that has not worked out for them. And I think the prime example of that is Jaden Ott. I mean, he highly touted portal running back from Cal that everybody wanted. You went and got him, and he hasn't panned out. I mean, he was injured in fall camp, and then he underperformed earlier in the season, and now he can't even get on the field. So there seems to be an evaluation problem there, which they're working to fix that. They obviously built out like an entire almost like an NFL front office with Jim Nagy, the former Senior Bowl exec, as their GM. They're trying to do better evaluations, and I think that they're trying to see the long view, and that kind of ties in with what you guys were saying about the calculus of the coaching market around you and whether or not you can get an ideal candidate has to factor in to your decision for Brent Venables. So I think at this point, I don't see them losing out, especially because Missouri and LSU have become increasingly vulnerable at the end of the schedule. And I think Brent Venables will be back next year, and him and his coaches and also this front office will really have to go to work on identifying more talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, because I think for as much as you want to be frustrated with John Mateer, I also think he doesn't have quite as many playmakers around him as he needs to be as successful as he could be.
Mason, I want to respect your time. If you will, share with the living listener how they can find you, where they can find you, and my best to you. And thank you so much, man, for jumping on with us. You're always so gracious toward us. You're so knowledgeable. You're kind of my guy, man. You're kind of my guy.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks as always for having me on. And I'm on Twitter at Mason_Young_0. And you can read all my content at TulsaWorld.com and OUSportsExtra.com.
You're the man, brother. Much love to you. Hope you have a great one. And if you're in the area, come see us Friday at Calhoun's. I'll buy you lunch. We're down there at Calhoun's on the river. If you get into town, I'd love to buy you some lunch, man.
Hey, sounds good. I'll let you know.
All right, see you, Chief. I'm also going to try and get our baseball coach down there. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see what happens.
You're
really I'm going to invite him.
Will you really buy Mason lunch?
No.
I didn't think so.
Sound
out of character to me.
Hey, Matt, explain something to me. So they have a great defensive line. They're extremely aggressive blitzing, Oklahoma is. They really fool quarterbacks in terms of all this exotic stuff they do, but they can't take the ball away from people. We literally look like bumper cars out there. We have no run fits, no gap integrity, no nothing. Half the time we don't get pressure on quarterbacks. And we've scored like 5 defensive touchdowns. Would somebody please explain to me what's going on in college football? And we're doing it in real games, by the way. We're doing it in SEC games.
Yeah, it's what is deciding games, or is the game-changing plays in games.
That's right.
You started it in the season opener against Syracuse. It's obviously what they've worked on, kind of creating some of those fumbles, because it's a lot of fumbles is what they're getting. So that's obviously been an emphasis. Apparently, it was all their emphasis in the offseason because they didn't work on anything else. It seems like they can't tackle very well. They don't cover. They just don't look fundamentally sound, but they can force turnovers. So
no offense.
And those are game changers, and they have been. And to this point, you've found a way to make it work. But it's funny. I think Oklahoma, they're just so good fundamentally, and I think they tackle really well. They don't necessarily try to strip balls like a lot of teams do now. So they really just tackle really well, and that probably limits that some. But I don't know how they don't get more interceptions, because they disguise coverages and the way that they dial up blitzes, from everywhere. You would think that they'd get 1 or 2 kind of jump ball type deals a game, but for some reason this year they're not.
The lack of tackling sometimes can contribute to more fumble opportunities. because you're thinking about taking the ball away more than wrapping up. And when you wrap somebody up, the play ends earlier and you don't have as good a chance to take the ball away from them.
Well,
is that true?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, because our defense, Matt, they don't wrap up. They like to bump. They like to do the bump, like we're back in 1975 or something.
They're going for the ball. They're not worried about the guy carrying it.
Kyle said he's expecting rerun to show up on our defense at some point and go out there and bump.
And sometimes interceptions happen when you're sort of out of position too.
They used to dance on Soul Train, rerun. But anyway.
Well, he brought up something. I was curious about this. I didn't realize he talked about the safety play. Mason talked about the safety play for Oklahoma has not been great. They have veteran guys back there. Made me wonder if they try to do too much in terms of disguising coverage. Maybe those guys are having to think too much. I don't know. That's kind of odd. When you have that kind of pass rush, that kind of frontline play, you would think the safeties would have a field day and probably get some picks. When you start picking apart things, you start picking apart even a good defense. I can't help but wonder, like, what Tennessee's defense would be like if it had those two cornerbacks. I mean, where would if you have Ricky Gibson and Jeremiah McCoy? I don't know as much about Ricky Gibson in terms of, is he an all-SEC cornerback? I don't know.
Pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jeremiah McCoy is a proven lockdown guy.
Yeah.
Preseason All-American, could be a first-round draft pick. So that's what a lot of defenses look for. If you got that lockdown corner, that sets up so much when you can trust one guy to take on the opposing team's best receiver. That covers a lot of ground.
How about Colton Hood?
Well, see, then where it puts you.
That.
So then you could have 3 DBs that can play.
Matt, why don't fans give Banks a break? What do you think that is? Like, nobody. And I want you guys to think about that. We're going to come back on the other side. I want the panel. I want you all to think about that. And John, you too, because like when we're doing the Garza Law 5th quarter fan reaction or we talk, everybody's like, this guy's got to go. And I had a couple of emails from people who are like, why won't you say he's got to go? And I'm like, well, I don't know enough about it to say he's got to go. Got to go or not got to go? I never thought he was great to begin with, but he's not as bad as you people think he is. But I'm afraid if Heupel loses Saturday or to Florida and the defense is the reason why. And by the way, if the Vols stumble down the stretch, here's another question I'm going to ask in the second hour. What's more likely? 10-2 or 8-4? And I want you to think about that. 10-2 finish or an 8-4 finish? I'm just asking for a friend here. 10-2 or 8-4? Because here's the problem with all these teams now. You're playing for these playoff spots. Whoever loses that third game on Saturday, the danger of unplugging in the transfer portal era, and we don't want to hear this, but the danger of unplugging with these guys is so pronounced. It's such a hard gig to keep everybody on the tracks. But we're going to come back. We'll talk about it. So I'm going to ask 2 questions. Why don't we give Banks a break? That's the question 1. And then question 2, when you look at our team, you look at our strengths, you look at our weaknesses, what's more, and even consider history, what's more likely, a 10-2 finish or an 8-4 finish? And the reason I ask that is I think that's what's going to happen. I think this team's either going to finish 10-2 or I think they're going to finish 8-4. And we'll come back with more on the other side after this.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted grade A grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Score a TD every time with T3 Vodka. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 Vodka is taking the Volunteer State by storm. T3 Vodka, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, where quality isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. Filtered 10 times and 80 proof. T3 Vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. This dedication to excellence has already earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades. T3 is a 5-time gold medal winning vodka and the 2025 SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat or on the rocks or mixing up your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka is your choice for a premium, award-winning experience. Score a T3 TD and ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, drink T3 Vodka and score a touchdown every time. T3, Tennessee's premium vodka. Distributed by Athens Distributing Company. Please drink responsibly. Basilio here. No one does it like Alumni Hall. I'm here to tell you, Living Vol fan, only one place. That's the best place to shop for Tennessee gear, and that's Alumni Hall. The best and largest selection of Tennessee apparel for the whole family. Top brands like Nike and Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar. Load up on hats, accessories, Yeti, all your tailgating necessities. Download the Alumni Hall app, click account, and it'll tell you how much Hall cash you've earned. You earn $10 in rewards for every $150 you spend. Alumni Hall, with physical locations in Murfreesboro, Bristol, and 3 locations in Knoxville, now open in Johnson City. Pop into Alumni Hall and get ready and tell them Tony B sent you. When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate 865-384-2012 and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions. Over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony.
Go Vols! TB back with you. Let's keep it live, legal and large, and in charge, because we're taking you up to William Pattison and the playbook. By the way, live this week, the big box. You've been hearing about, you've been talking about. What's in the big? I have no idea what's in the big box. No idea. But we're going to find out Friday at Calhoun's as part of an extravaganza all day, which might be a precursor of things to come for all I know. But the entire Fanrun crew in the afternoon is going to be out there. It's going to be unreal. We get the party started. Then we hand it to William Pattison, who hands it to Russell Smith, who then grabs his guitar as we're announcing who wins the big box. Russell's going to sit in and play with the Fountain City Ramblers. It's going to be unbelievable, Andy Mack. Let me tell you something about Dubsy. Dubsy is a freaking musician now. Not only is he a great talk show host, he's a freaking musician. And Bob Baskerville is going to sing harmony. And Bear is going to be the precursor of our set list. Or maybe he can go up there and do a little Barry White with his baritone. All right, let's get serious now. John, you brought up the Tim Banks thing, and then we're going to go around the room. I want to know from all you guys, why don't we ever talk about the injuries on our defense when we talk about Tim Banks? First of all, we're missing a first-round pick in McCoy. We're missing a very good SEC cornerback in Ricky Gibson. And you can say, well, no, he's not that. Okay, how about this? We're missing a reliable, high-level Division I cornerback in Ricky Gibson. How about that? And people want to talk about number 4, who's a true freshman. He shouldn't be out on the field right now. And he's a nice player. He's going to be a nice player in time if it doesn't warp his confidence that he gets picked on each week. He lost 2 of his best defensive linemen early in the year. Moy has been kind of in and out. John, we hear none of that. Nobody talks about that with Tim Banks. You brought it up. Talk to me.
Well, for one thing, and I think everybody knows this, you you don't have the depth of – nobody has the depth of talent that they did during in pre-portal era. You know, not Alabama, not Georgia, not LSU, not even Ohio State. I mean, you just can't maintain that kind of talent. So one guy gets hurt, the next guy comes in. There's going to be more of a drop-off in the best programs than there used to be. That's part of it. But I think also what happened, it goes back to when Heupel first started here. That offense of Heupel's, everybody, wow, this is amazing. Up and down the field, led the nation in scoring in 2022. But he built the defense. And the defense, right then, an image was established. This is all offense, defense, can't play. And even though Tennessee's, there was, the script got flipped last year. It was a better defense than offense. The defense played great, had really good numbers in a lot of statistical categories. But that's been the exception, not the rule. And I think that's what was established. So there's this image already, even before, despite last year, well, I don't know about the defense. I think that is carried over. Those first 2 years under Heupel is carried over. And now we have this season where everything's awry in the secondary, and Tennessee's given up huge chunks here. And keep this in mind. As bad as Tennessee's been defensively, statistically, Tennessee's played 2 teams with a winning record. 2, and both beat Tennessee. Tennessee has not beaten a team with a winning record. Even ETSU and FCS.
So that goes to
record.
Second question. What's more likely to happen? 10-2 or 8-4 from here?
I think 10-2.
All right.
Because when you go back and you look, this is how I saw it at the start of the season. It's why I picked Tennessee to go 10-2. Very accommodating schedule. One of the, maybe the most accommodating schedule in the SEC. And I look at the end of the season. Now, I didn't know Vanderbilt would be this good. That's the outlier. That could change things. But I looked at Oklahoma and Florida. I thought they would both be pretty good, but I thought they could be beaten down by the schedule. Well, look what's happened. Both John Mateer
beaten
down. And I thought the same thing. I thought with Florida, I didn't know Lagway had an injury history. Plus, he's played terribly. He's throwing interceptions all over the place. So he's not as good as I thought he would be. But I also thought with Vanderbilt, I didn't think it would be this good, but I didn't think it would be bad either. And I thought it's so Diego Pavia dependent. It's so reliant on him. He's the catalyst. He makes everything happen. I thought he would be beaten down too. He stayed healthy.
All right, Matt, your turn. Why is everybody all over this Banks guy and nobody talks about the injuries? What is that?
Well, the injuries aren't an excuse for why you're a very poor tackling team, why you have bad angles, the run fits, the just unawareness and coverage on passing downs where you're just giving up first downs with just easy throws where you're not covering the sticks. Like, your injuries have nothing to do with any of that. I just think it's a defense that's just hasn't been coached well this year. And I think the Gibson injury is the one that I think matters more because they knew since January that McCoy was not going to play until at best mid-season. So they couldn't even plan for him. So, like, I don't even consider him being missing because they never thought he was coming back. The Gibson one's a big loss. I think he's an above average SEC corner, maybe a little bit better than that if he develops some. I just think that they relied so much on that and those two, at least Gibson and their corners, to be good to kind of help everything else out. And they've just not been able to do that. So they've had to adjust, and they just don't have an answer for what they can do in the secondary. And then your linebackers are, just I don't know. I'm not sure what they really do. I mean, Carter flies around, but he doesn't really know what he's doing a lot of the time. And T-Lander's exposed in space. So I just, the middle of the field is just wide open for every team. And the injuries have nothing to do with a lot of that.
Matt, I thought, as troubled as the defense has been right from the get-go, when you go back to that Syracuse game, Kentucky, the problems were so glaring against Kentucky because Kentucky is not blessed with great offensive talent. It's playing a freshman quarterback in Cutter Boley. Its receivers are average on their best day. And Kentucky's just going up and down the field, and they're making plays.
Well, you guys bring up a good point. Okay, the second one, Matt.
Kentucky, well, I'll say this. Kentucky hadn't scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns against a power of 4 opponent in I don't know how long, and none of those teams that held them to 2 TDs or less had Gibson or McCoy either.
Matt, what's more likely from here, 8-4, 10-2, and why?
8-4 would be a little bit more likely, just because you're unsound defensively, and you're playing. The history in Gainesville is what it is. I mean, Oklahoma and Vandy. I think at least as of right now, you'd be very slight favorites at home, but that's 3 losable games. I think it's I think 9-3 is the most likely by a wide margin, but then 8-4 is a little bit more likely than 10-2.
It's a very interesting thing to think about as we get ready to go down the stretch drive. Brian Hartman, why are these fans all over this Banks guy?
Well, I touched on it a minute ago. Kentucky hadn't scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns against a Power 4 opponent in, I think, what did Vaught say, like 13 games in a row?
Yeah, he laughed. He was laughing at their offense, yes.
And he talked about how they don't have explosive plays in their arsenal. They just don't have any. And they scored. They nearly tripled the amount of touchdowns they've been scoring against Power 4 opponents.
I look like Marcus Nash and when they flipped the ball out to him in the 97 SEC championship game. Some dude we've never heard of, John, running wide open like Marcus Nash back in the day. What are we doing on defense, John?
And those defenses didn't have the excuse of missing. They didn't have McCoy on their teams either, or Gibson, and they were able to hold them down. So
the play that stuck out to me, and this is ignorance probably on my part, I didn't think of Kendrick Law, the Alabama transfer, as a speed guy. He caught that ball and went down the sideline. I thought he was an Olympic sprinter.
Like Rocket Ismail or something.
Yeah.
Or Quadri.
I thought, well, somebody will catch him. No.
There's nobody in the picture. I like how our guys, Matt, my favorite thing about going back and rewatching Sunday is the way our defenders don't use the sideline as a tackler, Matt. What are they teaching over there? What is that?
It just doesn't look like our guys know what they're doing. They're not situationally aware of the sidelines of where a first down marker is. It just doesn't seem like they know what's going on.
But
and I'm sure it's not really that way, but it certainly appears that way when they give up so much cushion on like 3rd and 7, and you're playing 12 yards, off the ball. Like it's just a simple, just a simple throw's an automatic first down.
But you got to wonder, though, if they're this bad now, imagine what they'd be without Boo Carter.
10-2 or 8-4, Brian? What's more likely?
It's hard for me to see this team winning out, given that, but I want to say slightly 10-2, but I think they're probably going to look at least one more loss. So I would think 9-3 is more of what I'm thinking, but I'll just go 10-2 because with Aguilar in the offense, I think they can actually pick up the slack. They've shown me enough that they can overcome and score against anybody.
Back to the phones we go. 865-200-5402. TLD Logistics phone lines are now open. TLD Logistic lines were open last hour. The guest line, Mason Young of the Tulsa World, joined us, and he said that Oklahoma's got a great defense, but their safety play is really shoddy. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, you think your safeties are bad? You wait till you see ours, brother. We go back to the phones. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is going to be Oklahoma's version of the Red River Shootout.
Yes, it is going to be.
Texas.
Yes, it is.
Tony, how this Scott Woodward guy at LSU, and maybe John knows more about the inner workings behind the scenes over there, but how does that guy still have a job? I mean, he hired Jimbo at A&M, history, like the history's biggest buyout. He's hired Brian Kelly, terrible fit. We knew that from the jump. Second largest buyout. I mean, how is he not held accountable?
Well,
and how are not any of these guys held? It's always the coach.
Well, Scott Woodward also hired Kim Mulkey, won a national championship in her second year.
Wow.
And he hired Jay Johnson, who has won 2 College World Series, 2 national championships in baseball. He's a go for the fences guy. He's thinking about that launch angle. He's knocking it out of the park, or that's how it's been, feast or famine with him. And when he hired Jimbo Fisher at A&M, when he hired him away from Florida State, it looked like a good move, and Jimbo Fisher didn't look like a bad fit at A&M. I just think Jimbo Fisher thought he'd hit the mother load. Man, I need to kick back. I've already won my national title. They didn't get what they were paying for there. But the Brian Kelly thing is more troublesome because I'm sure in the process of making this hire, there were some people saying, I don't know if this guy's a good fit for us. And keep in mind, he's hiring a guy from Notre Dame who hadn't won a championship, who'd been to the playoffs, who'd won a lot of games. And LSU doesn't want a guy who's won a lot of games. Now, I thought it was a good hire. He'd won everywhere he'd been. I thought he would be successful at LSU. He'd have more talent there than he did at Notre Dame. Turns out, he was at LSU. He was just what he was at Notre Dame, maybe a little less. He's got a 19-10 record in the SEC. Not bad. At most places in the SEC, that's acceptable. But he was hired at LSU to win a championship. And he didn't come close to that, didn't even make the playoff.
Well, here's a great question, right, which you bring up. Who hires these coaches? When it comes to football coaches, I will submit to you, knowing what I know about the inner workings of our school, athletic directors don't hire those guys. Now, when Danny White got here, we had a very weary, that's one exception, because we were so worn down that even our big money people at that point just threw up their hands and said, hey, man, you're a new young AD, go get it. And the first guy he talked to was Franklin. And then he went over and talked to the guy that's now the head coach at Virginia, who turned him down a couple times, by the way. They flirted around with him, and he was a hot assistant at the time in Tony Elliott. And then finally he went back and said to Josh Heupel, hey, man, come on with me. After, it became apparent that it's just really hard to hire a coach these days. I submit to you, Jake, these ADs at schools like LSU have so little to do with hiring a football coach. Now, it hangs around their necks. But, man, these big boosters, you think about now the money they pour into these sports. You mean to tell me they're not going to get a say on who your coach is? Of course they are.
But when it doesn't work out, they got to be the fall guy.
Oh,
right?
the AD is going to get blamed. Yeah.
Well, sure,
right.
but
he makes a lot of money though.
But I think with Scott Woodward, he's a Baton Rouge guy, and I think with him, the way LSU saw him, he's kind of what they wanted: a guy that goes for the long ball, a guy that goes for the championship. He's not trying to hire somebody that's going to win 9-10 games. He's trying to hire a coach, and he did that in women's basketball.
Yeah, she's a great hire.
I mean, she's won 4 national championships now. He did that in baseball, and baseball means a lot at LSU. It means a lot. And even women's basketball, now that you have Kim Mulkey, they fill up the arena for women's basketball. So they want to win at everything, and he's given them 2 championship coaches. He missed.
They don't want to win in men's basketball, so they're not.
No, they have zero
everything,
interest
but
in men's basketball. I feel sorry for the local kid that's down there. They don't budget him. He doesn't have any players. He has about as much chance of making it there as I do.
And he was, yeah, I'm just saying that he wasn't the kind of hire that Scott Woodward usually tries to make.
Because they don't care.
Well, and that's what I need to remind myself of. Like this era that we're in, especially this era of UT athletics that we're in. I mean, this everything school is a blessing and a curse.
Yep.
I mean, I can't imagine the money management factor of it all, just to be not only competitive, but I mean, frankly, elite at most of the major sports that we currently are in. And for us to, if we want to keep this, and I just look at the Brian Kelly situation as an example, like, and I'm not saying I want Heupel to leave, because I don't, but if and when that time comes, look at Notre Dame's in a much better position now than when Brian Kelly. I mean, Brian Kelly left, and what did they do? They promoted within. They didn't go out and spend a bunch of money on some big name coach that's failed before. And so that's just, and I mean, we see it with Danny White doing it with Elander. You know, he's making, you know, less than half of what Vitello was making, which, you know, whatever, but you're still, I guess what I'm saying is, if we want as a fan base to be able to be super competitive in all these sports and keep doing what we're doing, I mean, the expectations do kind of have to change if we want to continue that. So I appreciate the discussion, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great show.
Yeah, and here's my thing, right? I was talking with a friend of mine today. What would you rather have? Because I know there are people out there when Tony left that said, you know what? Take all that money and go ahead and put it right in football. Go get your 2 linebackers. Go do whatever you're going to do. And who cares about baseball? Well, I cares about baseball. And a lot of people cares about baseball. And I don't want to be the University of Georgia. I would not give our experience here, and particularly me doing what I do here, I would not give, and Matt, I'm going to ask you, would you give your experience that we've had here in the last 5 years, would you trade with Georgia, who's won several national championships in football, but they pretty much blow at everything else?
Well, they are better in baseball now. They have a good baseball coach.
But Matt, what how do you answer that?
I like being very good to great in a number of sports. I really enjoy that, but it is tempting. You know, if you have a 5-year stretch where you're kind of like Tennessee, and then a 5-year stretch where you're kind of like Georgia, that'd be nice to have. But I think I enjoy it as a fan more when you're kind of good year round in your sports.
We get such a better bang for the buck here than those Georgia people. Hey, Florida beats Georgia and puts it on them, and Georgia Tech beats them at the end of the year, and they're out of the playoff. That's it for them. They're going to have a long winter. They get to watch these ladies run around in leotards. They're into that. We don't have a gymnastics team here. Not that I'm knocking gymnastics, but that's a kind of a thing down there.
Hey, they get to watch Danny White's brother coach basketball. That's a privilege.
Their baseball team's mediocre to okay, but it ain't what we have seen here.
Look at LSU. Championship baseball, championship in women's basketball. And they also have a really good gymnastics team.
Yeah.
I would just happen I saw a couple of stories, you know, how you just run across tidbits on the internet. 2 different gymnasts transferred to LSU.
I would much rather have that than have Georgia's experience of, if you think about it, 12 football games in the fall.
I know, Tony, you say that, and I think that too.
Yeah.
I much rather the situation you have now.
Yeah.
Because you're getting Matt and Brian, everybody agrees.
Right.
But the general public and the overall Tennessee fan base that puts 100,000 people in Neyland,
they can't believe that. No.
They want that championship in football.
No, they can't believe. You wouldn't sacrifice everything for that, would you?
You would be okay if you weren't if you told those people you're competing for a national championship in football every year and you just be so-so in the rest of the sports, I think a lot of people would go for that. They're fans. You're not that way. And maybe your callers aren't. But
I love all sports.
Well, I know, but there are people out there. There are some people that didn't follow Tennessee baseball. Even as popular as Tony Vitello was, even as celebrated as the program was, and all the success it had, some people say, well, I just don't care anything about baseball. I heard fans say that. Football is still everything here. And I think there are a lot of people that would say, if we could win a national championship, multiple national championships in football, they'd be good with that.
I would much rather have our experience than Georgia's experience. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the TLD Logistics phone lines. Tim Banks, 10-2 or 8-4, and anything else that's on your alleged mind. Hi.
Hey, Tony. It's Parker. Hey, guys.
Hey, Park. Welcome in.
John, that's a great point about Tennessee football and our fans. Definitely believe that I would say majority of our fans would rather be Georgia and so in other sports. You look at baseball, and I hope Elander succeeds. Obviously, I want him to win a national championship and sustain the success. But there's going to be a drop off, I think, in fan participation because Vitello was the program, guys. I mean, he really was that important. Like him and Pat Summitt, that's the two best coaches I think ever to be on Rocky Top, and you're going to see that now. And I just think the drop off of the fan engagement. That's just my opinion, though.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
You wonder if there'll still be box office material on TV like they were.
Here's the interesting thing, guys. I think Josh Elander yesterday in his press conference cut a figure that's going to be very easy to cheer for, and a lot of people are going to get behind him and try and help him succeed. Because after watching him yesterday, I see why. The fervor around him was evangelical, and the people, his backers, so went to bat for him, so inundated Danny White, and Danny's assistant over there, Alicia, she just got bombarded. I mean, lieutenant, I'm sorry. Bombarded with support for him from all sides.
I think he could do. I think it was an obvious hire, and it was the right hire. Josh Elander may be a terrific coach, and Tennessee continued to do well in baseball. However, Tony Vitello, and we keep using it's a cliche, but we keep saying rock star. But this guy was so popular. There were people, and a lot of more women, who cared about the program strictly because of Vitello, and they will drop off now. Doesn't mean Tennessee won't be really good. Doesn't mean it won't draw well. But I don't know that you can recreate what you had with Vitello because of his personality. But
I agree, John. It's like Pat Summitt, really.
Yeah, you could still, and that's certainly not a knock on Elander. I think that was a really good hire. And even if Josh Elander had been in South Carolina or somewhere else, that might have been a good hire. Because he's people that know baseball a lot more, college baseball a lot more than I do, touted this guy and said he was the obvious hire and the right one. And I trust their opinion. So, yeah, that's great. I think Tennessee will continue to be good. And again, Parker, I'm saying I like it what Tennessee has right now. I really like that. I think we agree on that. I like.
Oh yeah, I'm with Tony. Like I all the sports, John. Like I mean, truth be told with you guys, I'm more of a Tennessee basketball fan than I am a Tennessee football fan. So obviously I want Rick to cut the nets down and make the first Final Four. But the last thing I'll say on this, and I'll answer your question, Sammy. We had 70,000 fans come to Gay Street in downtown Knoxville after Tony won the national championship. Is that about right?
Yeah, that was amazing. And no build up and no publicity barrage. It's just, hey, we're going to have this parade if you want to come down here in a couple of days.
Okay, it would be double that, if not triple, if Josh Heupel won a national championship in football. That's my point. So people would rather, I think, have the experience of that one time than sustain success in baseball. Just, again, my opinion, and I love all the sports. But anyway, Tony, the first question about Banks, why do people not care? It's just anything else in life. It's, what have you done for me lately? Yeah, last year the defense carried us, but right now, what are you doing for me lately? And like Brian Hartman's saying, is you're letting a Kentucky team that hasn't been able to score 2 or 3 offensive touchdowns torch us for 500 yards. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
And then 10-2 or 8-4. What's more likely in your mind?
Tough. I want to say 9-3.
Not a choice.
Not a choice. I want to say, I think 10-2. But here's a question for you all.
Yep.
Just because the Florida thing without Napier, that they're gettable at home. I don't know if I trust Oklahoma. I don't really trust us either, and this is getting to my point.
Yes.
We don't have any really good wins, y'all. Like we don't have any good
wins, actually. We don't have any good wins.
When you think about it,
yeah,
that Virginia team has, beaten 2 top 25 teams. They're ranked below us, and so is Louisville. They have a ranked win. And I think we're definitely benefiting from the SEC bias, which is okay, I guess. But here's my thing. Let's say we go 10-2, we beat Vanderbilt. But let's just say, and again, a lot of assumptions here, but if Vanderbilt is 11-1 and they lose to us, and they're 10-2 and we're 10-2, but they have more conference wins and ranked wins, like, are we even sure we're getting into the playoffs?
No, the
BYU is undefeated. That's my thing. Like, I don't even think we make the playoffs unless BYU loses, Texas Tech, Notre Dame. I feel like so many more things have to happen for us to make it.
They will.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd love to see y'all talk about that.
No, they will. And the head-to-head things got to matter, Parker. Like Matt, you said earlier, the day we get to teams having the same record and head-to-head not mattering is a day you can just sign me out on this deal. It's got to matter, Matt, what happens on the field, right? It's just got to.
Yes, especially when it would be the most recent game for both teams.
That's right.
Yeah, it has to matter. I've said it going back last year. I think every 10-2 SEC team's in the playoffs. And you might not be a great seed, and you might have to, get throttled in your first game on the road. But I'll be stunned if a 10-win SEC team's not in the playoffs.
Well, let's do the math real quick. Who in the Big Ten is going to make the playoff? Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. Who else in the Big Ten makes it?
Well, Iowa and Michigan still have an outside shot, but
Michigan's got
it's
loss.
Probably a long shot.
Michigan's got an Oklahoma loss. That was a big win for the SEC when Oklahoma beat Michigan, I thought.
Michigan has to beat Ohio State to make the playoffs.
Southern Cal could make it if it wins out.
Back to the phones we go. I just think that pronouncement of 10-2 sounds great on paper till you think about our schedule.
That's
going to get you, man. It's going to get somebody.
The SEC teams Tennessee's beaten, they all have long SEC losing streaks. I think Mississippi State's was like 16, and their last win was against Arkansas. Arkansas had a streak of like 8, and their last win was Mississippi State, and Kentucky's deal. So,
yeah, you've got every team that Tennessee has beaten.
Yeah.
I think except one, I forgot which one. I was looking at it last night, is on a losing streak right now. All of them have losing or non-winning records. I think Mississippi State is 4-4, but it's lost every SEC game.
And by the way, 2 of them last week snatched a defeat from the jaws of victory. I want to congratulate this Levy guy. Hey, Matt, his game management at the end of the Florida game was dreadful. And last week against Texas, he said, "Hold my beer. I'm really going to show you something. We're going to punt the ball right to this guy. We're going to punt it. We're not going to punt it out of bounds. This guy is faster than life, and we're just going to punt it to him."
We've seen him return punts on film all week, and we're going to punt it to him.
It's ridiculous.
Tony, I remember when coaches, when there was a great punt return on the opposing team, everybody kicked away from it.
Of course.
And then I'm watching the game Saturday, and Mississippi State kicks it right to Niblett, who goes 79 yards. And then I'm watching another game. Who was the other returner that ran about the same distance for a touchdown?
I don't know. I checked out after that.
Well, but there were 2 of them. I can remember way back, dating myself here, when Tennessee was playing Cal and they had Deshaun Jackson
my gosh, man.
returning punts. And remember Brandon James at Florida?
Oh, they just kept punting him.
Yeah, they just kept
I still see that in my
punting.
dream. I was over there with Anthony. I said, "Anthony, we're going to win this game." He was like 8 years old. He goes, "Dad, no, we're not." Like that to me. 8'6", 205, and they punted a ball to him like down at the 10-yard line, and he's still running with it. As we continue with more on the other side, we'll come back. My gosh. Is that Mark and Colombo up next? Oh, boy, after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline, online at tldlogistics.com.
Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company-paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contract.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our custom meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morse here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team started at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our trials last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw Premium Vodka. Please drink responsibly.
TB back with you, 865-200-5402. Me and Columbus had a spirited debate yesterday, John, about Lane Kiffin and LSU. He said he's not going to leave where he's at because the timeline doesn't match up. What does somebody like you say? And then we'll go to the phones. Hang on a second. Let's go back. Go ahead.
Well, I think they'll work that out. Yeah, I think he's gone if it's LSU. I'm not so sure he would leave for Florida. I don't think he would. But I think for LSU, look, he and Ed Orgeron are big buddies.
Yep.
And really big buddies.
Really big buddies.
Yeah. They have fun together.
Yep.
So, but he knows what Ed Orgeron is. He's a good recruiter. He's a good defensive line coach. But he kind of knows he's not necessarily a championship head coach. But he won a championship at LSU.
Yep.
And Lane Kiffin's kind of deadpan, of course. Well, if Ed was able to do that, maybe I can too. He knows the resources. He's got good support at Ole Miss. But he doesn't have, I don't think, LSU type support. And he knows he loves the portal. And look what Brian Kelly did in 1 year this past offseason. He went crazy in the portal because he was getting desperate and he knew he better upgrade that roster. Completely rebuilt his defense. You give Lane Kiffin portal money to play with, you got him.
Hey, Matt, where are you? What do you think? Does the timeline line up, or does Lane Kiffin stay loyal to his football team?
I don't see a coach leaving a playoff team before the playoffs. So I do think it is kind of a wrinkle in this that we haven't seen before.
That's interesting.
I think LSU will wait on Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, but here's the deal. What do? I would, if I were them, I would take Ed Orgeron, make him the interim coach, because I think that's what they're going to do. And he's going to be the quote unquote, to use Danny White's term, the shepherd. They do the day-to-day transfer portal, rating the deal. That makes total sense. I mean, that would make that's the only way you can do it.
Has a team ever done that with a coach they fired?
Brian, I don't know, but if anybody's going to do it, it's those wacko people down there.
They're big buddies. He and Ed Orgeron.
Yeah,
if anybody's going
to do it. All that sounds good, but I mean, you think Ole Miss is going to would think that that's okay?
What's it? Ole Miss has got a shot. I don't think. Here's what Lane Kiffin will tell LSU. I'm your guy. I'm coming. But I got to take this team as far as it can go.
You can't do that when you're overlaying.
Okay.
Go ahead, Columbo. Columbo's jumping right in. Go ahead, Columbo.
Look,
I may be wrong on this. If you're LSU and you go to Lane Kiffin, the job's yours, and Lane tells them or has his representation tell them, okay, I got to do this playoff thing, but I'm coming. He is going to be hosting a playoff game on December 20th. The signing day is the first week of December. If he wins that playoff game, he's going to be a favorite. He's going to be coaching a national quarterfinal on January 1st. The portal opens January 2nd. Now, if you're LSU and Lane says, I'm coming, LSU's going to say, well, will you sign an MOU? And Lane goes, well, no, I'm not going to do that, because that would get out, and that would be a terrible look for everybody involved, that he's leaving his playoff team in the middle of the playoffs for LSU. So LSU's going to say, so we don't even have a handshake deal here. You just telling me you're coming. So what if Lane wins on January 1st and he's coaching in a national semifinal? Now they're not going until January 9th. And what if he gets emotional that he's taken Ole Miss this far and says, I'm staying? What's LSU going to do? Not only that, let me add another caveat to that. Let's say he coaches in the national semifinal on January 1st or a national quarterfinal on January 1st. And the Miami Dolphins come calling. And they say, you want to scratch your NFL itch? You don't have to deal with the portal anymore. You don't have to deal with NIL anymore. Come on down. And he goes to the Miami Dolphins. LSU's without a coach.
Hey,
the timeline just doesn't work.
I'll tell you what.
And the national media is very lazy on this because they love Lane Kiffin's name for clicks. I could be dead wrong. There's no way he could take the LSU job secretly.
The
That's
one
not
thing,
going to happen.
and I hate to give Mark credit, but the one thing he's right about is the way they've oriented their sport with this timeline and the way they've laid that transfer portal right on top of that playoff with all this coach movement. The guys that are in the back end of that 12-team playoff, like Lane, are the guys that these power teams are going to pick on in future years for these jobs. It's how all these sports work. In college basketball, when a guy gets hot and gets to the Sweet 16, they're going to pick on him. What are they going to hire him during the week of the Sweet 16? I mean, that's what we've done now. It's idiotic. He's right about that.
Lane is getting – it's going to cost – look, here's the way the Brian Kelly thing breaks down. He's going to get $800,000 a month for the duration of his contract unless they go to him and say, look, we owe you 55, we'll give you 40 right now. And Brian Kelly said he's not going to do that. That may change his representation, whatever.
Yeah.
So $800,000 a month is about $9.5 million a year. Plus the buyout as assistant.
How idiotic is
you hire Lane, it's going to cost you 13. Okay, I'm just telling you. That's what it's going to cost. You're talking about $22 million for your football coach a year. LSU doesn't have that kind of money, man. I'm sorry. They don't.
Yes, it does.
They don't have that kind of money.
Yes, it does.
And look, I get it. Because Brian Kelly's salary, only $400,000 a year of it comes from the actual LSU athletic department. The rest is paid by their booster club. But man, it's a poor state. Like it's not so much the money for me, but because Woodward, if he's allowed to make this hire, and there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes with the governor and him, and they don't get along. If he's allowed to make this hire, he is going to go for Dan Lanning. He's going to go for Lane Kiffin.
He called your people
no doubt
poor,
about it.
John. He called your people down there poor.
But he like just Woodward. If he's allowed to make this hire, he's going to shoot for the stars. I just don't know if they can. They'll find because this Brian Kelly thing, Tony. You beginning of the show, you talked about how this is all just insane. Yeah, Tony, we're talking about college football. There is no sanity. There is no rational thinking. It's all emotion. And that's what happened Saturday night.
Yep.
Brian Kelly survived if that game is as ugly as it is. But people in the luxury boxes got pissed that they were getting their ass kicked all over the field by the former strength coach that Brian Kelly fired, Tommy Moffitt. Like, it pissed people off. And it's all emotion. And that's why, like, I'm so happy we have Josh Heupel here because it's stable. I'm good with it. We've dealt with instability for far too long.
John, let's now take a breath. John, LSU's cash poor. They can't pull this off.
Totally wrong take.
All right.
Yeah. Todd Graves is worth $17.2 billion.
How many?
$17.2 billion.
Was that with a B?
Yeah.
B as in Basilio? B as in boy?
B B is in Brian Kelly. Todd Graves owns Raising Cane's Fried Chicken. There's a lot of poor people in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I was one of them. I know what poverty
Let's
is.
Go!
I know what poverty's like in Louisiana, but there are also a lot of rich people. And here's the thing. Yes, they can compete with maybe not Texas and Texas A&M.
It's a top 3 job in the sport. It is.
Yeah.
But
I'm
agree
telling
with
you,
it's a top 3 job in the sport.
But I'm telling you,
when it is going well there and you have it rolling, it's the best job in the country because everybody loves you. The money's flowing, the party's flowing. You get a ton of night games because television loves having Tiger Stadium on their network at night.
No doubt.
But when it's going bad, it is.
Oh, what a toxic place.
I know.
Oh.
But what I'm saying is they get desperate and they can raise money really quickly down there. And they want Scott Woodward. Yeah, you're right. He shoots for the stars, but that's what those fans down there want too. So here's the problem with Lane. If you don't get Lane Kiffin, I don't think there's any way Dan Lanning leaves Oregon for LSU. Not happening. I just don't see that.
They got that.
He'll shoot for it, but I think
they'll
he's going to
shoot
try.
for it. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, if you don't get one of those guys,
then what happens?
Who do you get? You get another Brian Kelly.
They put Eli Drinkwitz and pair him back up with the defensive
Oh
coordinator.
my God, Eli Drinkwitz.
He could do it there. I think he's a nice coach.
He's a pretty good coach.
Yeah,
but he's not.
Okay, you were in Louisiana, John. You were in Louisiana. Isn't there an attitude there that we're not hiring Tulane's coach because they didn't hire Napier?
Boy, that's
we're not hiring Lafayette's coach.
That's a good point.
There's kind of that attitude there.
Yeah,
right?
but that's kind of I think that attitude might have changed now. I don't think that's why they wouldn't hire Tulane. That's why they wouldn't hire John Summerall.
Yeah.
Because he's a big name. How many people know who in college football know? Casual fans, the average fan out there knows who he is.
You're trying to get the best coach. Who knew who Urban Meyer was before Florida hired him? Your guy.
Let me posit something for you real quick.
Go ahead, Mark.
Look, an AD, these ADs, you're talking about the insanity of the sport. Why are they doing this? Well, okay, why would they sign Lane Kiffin for $15 million? Because he's not going to come unless you give him that. And he's not going to come unless you have a massive buyout protecting himself, period.
$15 million for that guy? What's he won? $15 million.
What's going to cost?
You need to get a room with him. $15 million.
This is moving to an NFL model slowly but surely, where you're going to hire a GM to put the roster together, and the coach is just going to coach, and the coach is going to get less money, I think. That's why you're hearing like Joe Brady talk down there.
That needs to
Yeah,
happen.
that would make sense.
Kelvin, who's the guy that's the defensive coordinator for Detroit that played there? Kelvin Shepard? Not Kelvin Shepard.
No, I know who you're thinking of because he's in their first year there. But here's the thing. He's got a great point. One of these big schools has to say to Jimmy Sexton, look, we're going to take Joe Brady and we're going to pay him $3 million a year, and we're going to take the rest of the money and we're going to put it in the payroll. Joe Brady, do you want the job? Because that's a smart move.
Tony, but here's the thing: these athletic directors are hooked on.
Yeah,
they are hooked on winning the press conference.
That's
for
right.
Their boosters.
You're exactly right.
And they got to move past that. And real quick on Woodward. Yeah. People are banging on him about the Jimbo contract. He only signed Jimbo to 10 years, $75 million, 7.5 years. That's palatable.
Yep.
It was Ross Bjork that gave him the extension that made it ridiculous.
That's right. You're
after
right.
The COVID. It wasn't Scott Woodward that gave Jimbo the extension. And he flung for the fence with Brian Kelly, and it didn't work out. I'm with John. I thought it was going to work because everybody's won a national title at LSU. Brian Kelly looked at said, well, if Ellen Orgeron and Les Miles can win a title here, I can. And these guys, and also these guys that are a little bit older school coaches, what's changed since Brian Kelly took that job? NIL and transfer portal.
That's right.
These older school coaches, Saban, even dabble a little bit. Brian Kelly, they didn't get into coaching. When they got into coaching, they've coached for 35 years, and this landscape has just totally changed. I don't even know if Brian Kelly gets back in. But one more thought, and I'll get off the air because I know everyone wants to talk. LSU, all they had to do was just chill for about a month and see, because Trace Armstrong actually represents Brian Kelly, not Jimmy Sexton. and see if Trace Armstrong could get Brian Kelly the Penn State job. And you just wash your hands of it.
They won't do
but
it.
They got so emotional Saturday night because they got their ass kicked. And he's lost to 3 top 10 teams this year. That's it. Lost to 3 teams in the top 10. They got so emotional that they made a $55 million decision like that. It's